Hey everybody, welcome to the GMG review. Today we're taking a look at Psychic Awakening Ritual of the Damned from Warhammer 40,000, the latest update book for Warhammer 40k, framed around what's going on with all the various armies after the Cicatrix Maledictorum. Yes. And this time it's Ritual Lo Habitual, which isn't just a great Jane's Addiction album, it's also a book about the Dark Angels, the Grey Knights, and the Thousand Sons. These were all early books in the Warhammer 40k release, and they're getting brought up to speed. So if you are a Thousand Sons player, if you are a Dark Angels player, and if you are a Grey Knight player, you're probably going to have to get this book to update your armies. It adds quite a bit. It adds all the expected things to the Dark Angels, all of the Vanguard Marines, and various updates for those duders. Are added in there, and some variations of that kind of thing. Like there isn't, for instance, exactly the chapter tactics where you have like the assault doctrine, all the different doctrines you can do for the regular Space Marines, but there's a version of that for the Grey Knights where they harness different energies of the warp and use it for different benefits and stuff. It's same string, different yo-yo. So the sort of like add-ons here, a lot of them are expected. So I'm not gonna spend a ton of time going through the main ones, and just bits of fluff of like what's happened after the Battle of the Fang, and you know, why Prospero is basically back, and now Magnus is rebuilding it, and he's got a million different plans, and no one knows what his plan's in, and MacGuffin. So let's take a look. We also got a new special character for the Dark Angels. There's a model release for this book. Nobody else got any models, but there's this guy, and he's pretty great. He's like baby Primaris Azrael. He does kind of an Azrael thing for everybody nearby, but without having to be Azrael. So, Prime Azrael, I guess. But let's take a look at what we got. So we're going to jump in, take a look at the full color art, because once again, we do have some pretty pictures and stuff to go through and show you guys. It's going to go through the Planet of the Sorcerers, what's been going on with the Sons of the Sons of Titan and the Sons of Caliban. How Tizca's basically, you know, back and being rebuilt by Magnus, and the Knights and the Angels, who are all these vigilant for what's going on with Magnus, because he's a big dick and everybody hates him. I mean, there's not really a lot of like hugely new stuff here though. We're just gonna go through kind of the art and take a look at the pictures and stuff, because it's like we're at another 5 minutes to midnight. We do get our cool map, so I do like these maps because it kind of talks about where everybody is. This new Empyrion where everything's like, yeah, Cicatrix Maledictum, there we go. All like cut across in half. My favorite one I think still is the one with the Gene Stealers. You just see there's Gene Stealer cults everywhere. Like, the humans are so screwed. They're just kind of all over the place. But this one's showing where Prospero is in the Forging system. So this little system down here, the Prosperan Rift, where all these different systems are, and then Prostrum's sitting there, and the Planet of Sorcerers, which is the planet that Magnus pulls out of the warp, basically. It's the one that he built in the Eye of Terror, where he's like, I got a planet now. Let's take this planet, and all of the exiled sorcerers from the Thousand Sons are there. And then he's dragging it out of the warp, basically next to Prospero, so you can rebuild Prospero. It's kind of like when you buy the house next door to the house you're going to fix up, and it's like a smaller house, but then you're going to fix up the bigger house, because the bigger house is the house you grew up in, but it's all run down. That's just sort of what Magnus is doing right now. It's just a home improvement thing. And then, yeah, so all the different forces that are there. The Dark Angels and Grey Knights. There's just a single company, a reinforced company of Dark Angels, and one of Grey Knights as well, in the Prosperian Rift, which is like the main battle zone for this one. But then there's all kinds of other. There's the Relief that's showing up, and then the different like suppression armies too that are there to fight and kind of like keep the sorcerers in one place. So the Death Hunters have 4 companies there. The Raven Covenant have 5 demi companies there. The Viper's Penitent have 3 Vanguard Strike Forces. The Order of the Silver Veil have 7 Preceptories, and the Order of the Sacred Rose have 9. So there are Sisters of Battle there as well. The Wahican Raiders have 23 infantry regiments. It's always hilarious how many guardsmen it takes to like equal like 100 Space Marines. So like 23 infantry regiments, that's probably like 100,000 men. It just makes me laugh. The Vastat Guards, the Tarkarn Iron Fists, have armored regiments, and then the House Durthos and House Dunstan of the Imperial Knights are there. So there's 3 lances of House Durthos and 5 lances of House Dunstan. And then a bunch of other folks, the Chan Sil Suppressions, there's other things that happened. The Dragon Spears are there, the Knights of Doom are there, the Crimson Raptors, Order of the Bloody Rose and Murdered Lady. Oh, sorry, Blessed Martyr, actually. Minor orders. The Chancillian Cannoneers have 35 artillery regiments. Like, think about how many people are in a regiment in our universe. That's a lot of men. And then the Chancillian Lightfoot, 25 armored companies. The Praetorian Hussars, 18 armored regiments. And then the House Bramica has 2 lances, and House Hawkwood has 6 lances. And then Chaos, the Warping of Ramesses. This is one of the planets, the Ramesses system. It's in the Prosperian Rift. See all the different war zones, basically. So like Halicrypt Tertius, that was what fought there, which is this one over here. Can you guys see that? I'm just gonna have to move that over so you guys can see it. But all these different battle zones and where things took place. The Lore Host Apoketh, the Master of the Crystal Serpent, Thrall Bands. I don't even know how to define some of these stuff. The Clade of Change, they're war cults. The Denizens of Sloptube 13, Mutants Unnumbered. And the Ramessian Liberators, an unknown number of them. But the Scourge were also there, the Invocators, the House Gurgian, the Hell Cannonades, the Chronosatyrs, the Bulwark Prismaticas, the True Believers of Zao. I mean, if you're just fishing for names for stuff, the book is a good place for that. So some stuff about what's going on with the Sons of Titan, the Grey Knights, the Sons of Caliban, the Dark Angels. You get about a page for each. The Plunging the Sword. Again, there's, like I said, it's pretty brief. Like we're getting almost straight to rules in these books now, where there's like maybe a page and a half of like updating sort of like the story. And then we get our... I do like this. They did this in the last book too, where it's like, hey, check it out. Here's a bunch of like random like transcripts of calls for help and stuff. They're all pretty funny. This one, the Governor KXI Orpheus, Jail Station Desmadris. This is the governor of the jail station. We've been putting the ones going strange into solitary confinement. Only fed them every 3 days. Even the strongest guards couldn't bear to go near them. Then the Space Marines arrived in the yellow armor, bleeding hearts on their shoulders. They took them all, and the other inmates too. We didn't argue. Just stuff like, things are going insane. These weird bleeding hearts. The Lamentra show up and take all these guys. We didn't argue with them. It's just funny. Stuff like that. Then we get to missions. So we do get some missions for the battle zone, like before Demon World, because of course the planet source is a Demon World, so they're going to give you some narrative stuff for playing on Demon Worlds. And then a random Nightmarish Hellscape. Subtract 1 from the escape characteristic of all units for the duration of the battle, including demons, because the place is just insane. And then it's a Demon World. At the start of each battle round, roll a d6 and apply it to the table below. The Gods grow bored. No effect on a 1. Warp Terrain. Each player selects 1 terrain feature, starting with the player who has the first turn. Roll a d6 for each model. It starts or ends the controller player's movement phase within 1 inch. For each roll of a 1, that model's unit suffers a mortal wound. And it lasts until the end of the battle round. So like the terrain starts eating people. Other examples, Chaos Ascendant. Roll twice for this table and apply both results. We only need duplicates of 1 or 6. Ebb and Flow of Fate. Roll a d6 and a 1 to 3 worsen all invulnerable saves by 1. On a 4 to 6 improve them by 1 to a max of 3+. And then different theaters of war. So the Plains of Glass, where it's just like glass everywhere. Break the Ritual. So like people are throwing things into a sacrificial pit, and the Thousand Sons are trying to kill everyone, and with its own stratagems, which is pretty cool. And then work to the Dark Angels. So like literally, like I said, it's only 26 pages of narrative play and background. Actually, even the background I think is even less than that. The background is just like 20 pages, and that includes like the maps and all the big pictures and stuff. So it's getting less and less over time. And we're just kind of straight to rules updates. Yeah, there's no page numbers on this page though. It's 1920. So 21 pages of like, including the big star map, 21 pages of actual like background. And then we're right into the sweet, sweet rules that you want. So the Dark Angels, you're getting all of the same kind of updates that the last armies got. So the Blood Angels got with the Mephiston book. The ball, something a ball, blood ball. something, sorry, Bale, ball. I don't care. I don't know how to pronounce it however I want. So you same sort of updates. All the weapons updates are on the page 34 and 35. Data sheets being updated to be Dark Angels. You get new stratagems that add on to your other ones if you're Dark Angels, Psychic Powers, the Phobos Psychers ones, and then Warlord traits. If a Deathwing or Ravenwing character is Warlord, you get new Warlord traits on page 56. New Relics of Caliban, new Special Issue War Gear, which is the same thing the new Space Marine Codex got, where you have like major and minor war gear, and your sub-chapters can get access to the major and minor stuff. Litanies of Battle for your Chaplains. You get bonus Chaplain stuff, because obviously the new Chaplain rules that were in But a Ball, this is just to add to the Interrogator Chaplains. So you actually get a Chaplain Terminator Armor profile in here that's updated too. A name generator, because of course there's a name generator, and then point values. And some background on the Dark Angels. Angels of Death. This, of course, all Angels of Death will know. So every Dark Angels, excluding servitors, gets this rule now. They have Nation of Fear, Bolter Discipline, Shock Assault, and Combat Doctrines. And then a designer note: anyone who has Nation of Fear twice, there's no additional benefit. So basically, if it's on your old profile in the Codex, having it twice doesn't mean anything. Doesn't break any rules. Bolter Discipline. This is all the same as the Space Marine Codex. I'm not going to go through it. Same with the Combat Doctrines and Shock Assault. All these updates are all the same as the Space Marine Codex as well. And then we got Master Lazarus. I think he's been previewed already, but I'll go through him quickly. He's got a 2+2+ weapon skill and ballistic skill. Strength toughness 4, 6 wounds. He's basically a Primaris captain. 5 attacks, leadership 9, 3+ save. His big deal is his Enmities Edge. This is a pretty baller power sword. It's +2 strength, so he's strength 6. AP -4, D3 damage. When you're attacking a Psyker, you can reroll wound rolls and damage rolls. So, real good against big demons who are also Psychers and just anybody with a Psyker keyword. And then he's got the Spirit Shield Helm. When a model in a friendly Dark Angels unit within 6 of this model would lose a wound as a result of a mortal wound, roll d6, adding 1 if it's this actual model. On a 5+, the wound is not lost. So he has a Mortal Wound Shrug, which is pretty cool. It's not as good as the Iron Halo Invulnerable save that gets passed around by Azrael, but it's a similar kind of effect. He has a buff orb, basically, and a very similar looking hat. And he's got Rights of Battle and Intractable Will. When this model is destroyed within lunge of any enemy units, it can immediately fight as if it was the fight phase before it's taken away. And it's not cumulative with the Astraeus banner ability or only in death. So you can't triple dip, basically. He doesn't pound and fight, then on a 4+ for the banner, pound and fight, and then you spend 3 CBs and pound and fight, or 2 CBs and pound and fight again, which would just be silly. And then Interrogator Chaplains, because they're updating the Chaplains to have all the new Litanies of Battle and stuff. And it's all pretty much the same as previous. I don't know if he's got any new weapon options. I don't think he has, because I'm pretty sure these were all available before. But he has the Priest keyword, or ability now. This model knows the Litany of Hate below and 1 litany from the Litanies of Battle. At the start of each battle round, you can recite 1 on a 3+. It takes effect. And then you get the Primaris Chaplain, the Basic Chaplain, and this is the Terminator one. This is the basic one. So Interrogator Chaplain, Primaris Chaplain, Interrogator Chaplain, Terminator Armor, Master and Phobos Armor. Lieutenants in Phobos Armor, Librarians in Phobos Armor, Spasmodai. He's just been updated to have all the Litanies of Hate and stuff. I don't know that anything, the Blade of Reeds I don't think is different. I don't think the Crozies is different either. And a Primaris Master, which is just a way of saying Primaris Captain, because that's the special fancy name that the Dark Angels call their Primaris leader boys. Intercessor Squad got updated to have the Thunderhammer and the Power Fist and stuff. Just like in the Space Marine Codex, your Infiltrators and Incursors, Invictor Warsuit, Suppressors, Eliminators, Repulsor, Executioner, and Impulsor. And then all your Angels of Death abilities. So all this same funny stuff that's in the Space Marine Codex basically will now apply. You've got Grim Resolve still, so reroll hit rolls of 1 for attacks made with ranged weapons if they didn't move. In addition, this unit can never lose more than 1 model from a single failed morale test. Relentless Hunt. When the Devastator Doctrine is active, the range characteristic of all heavy weapons and rapid fire weapons is increased by 6. And the range characteristic of all assault and pistol weapons is increased by 3. That's pretty cool. Having a 15-inch range melta-gun is pretty cool. And then, 15-inch plasma pistols too. And then Successor Chapters is the same sort of thing as before. You don't get relics of the basic relics from the Dark Angels unless you unlock it with that special issue Gift of the Chapter stratagem or whatever. But you can take all the minor ones. And then some new stratagems. Duty Eternal, that's 1 CP. Use stratagem when a Dark Angel's Dreadnought model from your army is chosen as a target for an attack. Until the end of the phase, when resolving an attack made against that model, have the damage running up. It's pretty cool if you're going to spam into Dreadnoughts. 2 CPs for Bolt Storm. Use a stratagem at the start of your shooting phase. Select 1 Dark Angel's Intercessor Squad from your army. Until the end of that phase, auto bolt rifles in that model gain the following ability when resolving an attack with this weapon that's within half range. Just auto hits. It's the one from the Codex, Space Marine Codex. Hunter Slayer Missile. This one is Darkened Repulsor. It's the same as the Space Marine one. Veteran Intercessor, same. Rapid Fire, same. High Speed Focus, same. High Speed Focus is use stratagem when a Raven Wing unit from your army is chosen as a target for an attack made with a ranged weapon. Until the start of your next movement phase, models in that unit benefit from Jink even if they didn't advance. That's right, I think that's the same as the other one. Big Guns Never Tire. Vengeance of the Machine Spirits, target sighted, Fury of the First, Steady Advance, Hear the Chapter, Gene Rot Might, Stand Firm. These all seem the same as the Space Marine ones. Stand Firm I think might be new. Use when a Deathwing Terminator unit from your army is chosen as a target of an attack until the end of the phase. Increase their toughness by 1. Targeting Guidance. Use this when a Raven Wing Land Speeder at the start of your shooting phase. Until the end of the phase, when resolving an attack, move a model with a friendly Dark Angels unit against that unit, you can reroll the hit roll. So you're basically spotting. Full Throttle. Use a stratagem in your movement phase. After moving a Raven Wing unit from your army, you can make a second move in that phase. And that unit can advance as part of that move if it is not already advanced. The unit cannot shoot or charge this turn. Combined Assault, 2 CPs. Use a stratagem at the end of your movement phase. When you set up a Deathwing unit from your army with a teleport ability, you can set up that unit wholly within 6 of any friendly Ravenwing Bikers that have not advanced this turn, and more than 6 from enemy models. Any model that cannot be set up is destroyed. That means you can set up within 6 with Terminators, which is pretty freaking cool for Deathwing Knights, being able to make a 6-incher. Actually, you're charging on a 5 then. Sorry, more than 6. You're charging on a 6, basically, to get in. But that's very, very useful for Ravenwing Bikes. Transhuman Physiology. Use a stratagem when a Dark Angels unit from your army that's not a vehicle or a servitor is chosen as a target of an attack until the end of that phase. When resolving an attack made against that unit, unmodified wound roll of 1 to 3 always fails. It's usual Transhuman Physiology. Adaptive Strategy. Change the Doctrine. Evasive Assault. Used in the fight phase when a Ravenwing Biker unit from your army that made a charge move or was charged this turn is chosen as target of an attack. Get a 5+ invul. Outnumbered but never outmatched. Use a stratagem in the fight phase. When a Deathwing unit from your army is chosen to fight, to the end of that phase, add 1 to the attack characteristic of the models in that unit if the target has 10 or more models. So basically, if you're outnumbered, you get +1 attack. It's pretty cool. Again, for Knights, that'd be awesome. Honored by the Rock. Use a stratagem in the nominating. Your Successor can have a relic, basically, from the Dark Angels. Obscuration Discipline. This is the same as the basic one in the Space Marine Codex. Same with the Vanguard Warlord traits. And then you get your sweet D3 Deathwing and Ravenwing traits. So Deathwing Warlord traits, you get Lalo the Mighty. Reroll wound rolls for attacks made with melee weapons against character units or units with wounds of 8 or more by friendly Deathwing units while they're within 6 of this Warlord. That's actually pretty cool aura. Again, when you can double down with the Deathwing and the Ravenwing to bring in like a big pile of Deathwing to go fight, might be useful. I honestly think you might be able to take a Deathwing army now that you can terminate. You can deep strike within 6 and then charge. That's a lot of melee punching, especially if your character shows up too. Inexorable. When resolving an attack made against this Warlord, an unmodified wound roll of 1 to 3 always fails, irrespective of any ability that the weapon or model making that attack may have. Watched. Once per battle in your opponent's psychic phase, this Warlord can attempt to resist 1 psychic power in the same manner as a Psyker by taking a Deny the Witch test, even if your Warlord is not within 24 of the enemy. When taking the Deny the Witch test, don't roll dice, it's just passed. That's pretty cool. The Watchers basically deny it. And he just does it with unlimited range automatically. Impeccable Mobility. While you're within 6 of this Warlord, models in the Ravenwing unit from your army do not suffer the penalty for moving and firing heavy weapons or for advancing and firing assault weapons. Tactically Flexible. Once per battle at the start of your battle round, you can select a combat doctrine that's not currently active until the end of the battle round. When resolving an attack made by a friendly Ravenwing unit within 6 of the Warlord, you can treat the chosen doctrine as being active instead. So once per battle, basically, you can change doctrines for the bunch of Ravenwing. And then Outrider, at the start of the first battle round, before the first turn begins, this Warlord and 1 other Ravenwing unit from your army can move up to 12 inches as if it was the movement phase. But they cannot advance. They must end more than 9 for enemy models. If both players have units that can move before the first turn, the player taking the first turn moves first. And then Lazarus automatically has a Brilliant Strategist. Relics of Caliban. So here's your new relics. We have the Reliquary of the Penitent, which is Ravenwing Bikers models only, worsen the invulnerable save of the enemy by 1 while they're within 3 of this model. The Corvus Oculus. Ravenwing Talon Master only, adds 6 to the range characteristic of ranged weapons a model with this relic's equipped with. When resolving an attack made with a ranged weapon by a model with this relic, add 1 to the hit roll. It's a +1 to hit, that's pretty cool. Standard of the Unforgiving Hunt. Ravenwing Ancient only, add 1 to the advanced rolls and charge rolls made by friendly Ravenwing units if they're within 6 inches of a model with this relic when the roll is made. +1 to charge is pretty great, but it's only for Ravenwing, so like you wouldn't add it to the Deathwing if they showed up in front of you. The Blade of Burden, Deathwing Master with Power Sword only. You get the Blade of Burden, it's +2 strength, -4 save, flat 2 damage. Neat. Resolving an attack made with this weapon and a modified wound roll of 6 inflicts 2 mortal wounds and the attack sequence ends. He had exploding dice mortal wounds, but no extra roll afterwards. The Pennant of Remembrance, Deathwing Ancient model only. When a friendly Deathwing infantry model within 6 of a model with this relic would lose a wound, roll a d6. On a 5+, it's not lost. The Key of Arcrabiel, Deathwing only. Add one of the strength and attacks characteristic of a model with this relic. I mean, that's a cool relic. Jeez. It's just a key, and you get to get +1 strength and attack. Poof. That's pretty cool. And then, of course, your usual special war gear. Adamantine Mantles, a 5+ wound shrug. Artificer Armor, 2+, 5+. Mastercrafted Weapon, +1 damage. Digi-Weapons, Arbiter's Gaze. When resolving an attack made the model with this relic, ignore the negative hit modifiers for Bliss skill. When firing Overwatch, the bearers use their own Bliss skill rather than hitting on a 6. The Angel's Gambit, increase the range of a model with this relic's aura abilities by 3. And then the Bolts of Judgment, when you give a model this relic, select one bolt weapon they're equipped with. When the model shoots with the weapon, you can choose to fire the Bolts of Judgment. If you do, the model can make 1 attack with that weapon, but the armor pen is -2 and has a damage of 3. When resolving an attack, a wound of 6+ is automatically successful. Sorry, a wound roll of 6+ is successful if the target's a vehicle or monster unit. Otherwise, a wound roll is 2+. So it's 6+ against everybody else, or 2+ against vehicles and monsters. And your Litanies of Battle, these I believe are the exact same as the ones in the Blood of Baal. But then on top of that, you have the Dark Angels Stoic Prosecution. If this Litany is inspiring, when the friendly Dark Angels infantry unit within 6 of this unit and did not advance or fall back this turn is chosen to shoot with, models in that unit can shoot with ranged weapons if they remain stationary. So you can sing to make people stationary if they're moving. Because I'm pretty sure Faith, Fire, Rage, Strength, Focus, Hate is all, yeah. All the ones from the previous book. Yeah, here we go. Name generator. Oh, did I forget my dice? I did forget my dice again. I'm going to be Aradia. Oh, Aradio's in there. Aradio. None. None is a name. I have no second name. There's actually a bunch of nuns in here. It's just Valeol, Nun. That seems like a cop-out, man. Riznuk, Xanthor, Hamiad, Belian, Sablo, Zacharis. Veloel Pelior. Man, the names just. I mean, I know they're all supposed to be angelic names, but they're just getting weirder. And then some point changes. So match play points changes. I haven't gone through and seen what's changed or not, but I'm just gonna go through them anyway just to make a point. Asmodee's 110, Azrael's 150, Belial's 125, Ezekiel's 110, Samael on Sableclaw is 200, and on Corvex is 140. Chaplains are 72. Jump Pack 90, Interrogator Chaplains 80, Terminator Armor is 110, Jump Pack for Interrogator Chaplain is 95, Lander Excelsior is 200, Librarian's 80, Phobos Armor Librarian's 90, Terminator Armor is 100, Librarian with Jump Pack's 108, Lieutenants is 1 and 2 are 60, Lieutenant with Jump Pack is 78, Lieutenant Phobos Armor 75, Master 74, Cataphracti Master is 95, Gravis 90, Phobos 90, Terminator Armor 95, Master with Jump Packs 93, Primaris Chaplain 77, Librarian is 90, Lieutenants are 65. So where did this 1 point more for a... No, the 1 point more, it's 4 points more. 5 points more for a Primaris Lieutenant. Primaris Master 78, Raven Wing Talon Master is 123, Rhino Primaris is 70, Tech Marines 45. Incursors are 19 each, Infiltrators 22, Adeptus 32, Intercessors 17, Scouts are 11, Tac Squad guys are 12. Aggressors are 21, Apothecaries are 50, Chapter Ancients are 95, Company Ancients are 63, Champions are 40, Vets are 14, Contemptors are 88, Deathwing Ancients 65, Apothecary 50, Cataphracti 26, Deathwing Champions are 90, Knights are 33 each, Terminators are 23 each, Deathwing Tartarus is 23. Terminator Squad has no point value. What? Deathwing Terminator Squad. Okay, why is Terminator Squad there? I guess because they're just a typo? Yeah, because there is no Terminator Squad, it's just Deathwing Terminator Squad. So I guess that was just left in by accident in the table. Whoops. Dreads are 60, Invictor Tactical Warships are 90, Primaris Ancient 69, Apothecary 60, Ravenwing Ancient is 75, Ravenwing Apothecary 60, Ravenwing Champion 70, Redemptor Dreadnought is 105, Reaver Squad is 16, Servitors are 5, and Vendreads are 80. And then, oh my god, I'm not going through all this. Here you go. Have a look. And just hold that still. There we go. And let's do that. It's too much stuff. And action. All right, you can see your point values if they changed. I'm not going to know any differences. Let's do Grey Knights. My God, there can't be as much stuff in the Grey Knights as there was in Dark Angels. It's not like a whole new codex. Actually, there isn't that much stuff. You just get a chaplain. So, what do we get? We get added to the codex, all Grey Knight and Servitor units have the following abilities: Bolter Discipline, Shock Assault, Master the Warp. And instead of reprinting it, they reference the Dark Angels section. So the stuff on page 34 is just the same stuff. So they do get Bolter Discipline, which is great. They get Shock Assault, which is great. So they have the, the Rapid Fire if you don't move, and they have the +1 attack on the charge. But their version of Combat Doctrines is Master of the Warp. So they get to pick one of these to be active at the start of the game, and every model in the army, excluding Servitor units, gets this bonus, basically. But the Dominant Tide is basically the one that you have. And then you can change it using the Warp Shaping Psychic Power, so you have to actually physically change it later on during the course of the game. So Tide of Fury, while it's dominant, when resolving attack with a Nemesis weapon, and there's a whole list of Nemesis weapons here, by an infantry model with this ability, reroll wound rolls of 1. So everybody can just reroll 1s to wound. Because most of your weapons are Nemesis weapons. I can't, unless you have a Thunderhammer. No, Nemesis Demon Hammer, I'm pretty sure is there too, isn't it? Nemesis, yeah. Anything with Nemesis in the name, basically. Tide of Convergence, while it's dominant, add 1 to the strength and damage characteristic of psi weapons that infantry models have. So again, this doesn't, it's all tagged infantry so far, those two, so you're not getting that on your big guys and vehicles. Tide of Shadows, while this tide's dominant, a unit with this ability receives the benefit of cover to its saving throw, even while it's not a trained feature. When resolving an attack made with a ranged weapon against a unit with this ability, while it's entirely on or within a trained feature, subtract 1 to the hit roll. So you're always getting +1 save, and you're -1 to hit if you're in terrain. And then Tide of Escalation, while this tide's dominant, when a unit with this ability and the Rites of Banishment ability manifests the Smite Psychic Power, it's not resisted, that model inflicts an additional mortal wound on the target. So that target, basically you go from 1 to 2 with your, every squad can smite. Nemesis weapons are anything with Nemesis in the name, and also the following: the Titan Sword, Malleus Argyrium, the Black Blade of Antweir, the Destroyer of Chrysalis, the Soul Glaive, and the Blade of the Force Horn. So all your special character weapons count as well. Psi weapons, the following weapons are Psi weapons: Silencers, Gatling Silencers, Psi Cannons, Heavy Psi Cannons, Twin Psi Cannons, and any range weapon that has the effect of the Psi Bolt ammunition stratagem during the current phase. And then bolt weapons, anything with bolt in the name is a bolter, and the Fury of Demos is also considered a bolt weapon for rules purposes. You get a chaplain, and he has the priest ability, so Litanies of Hate, and he can use those litanies on page 72, except for the Dark Angel one. So again, it references back to the Dark Angel section. He also has Rites of Banishment, Teleport Strike, National Interference, Demon Hunters, Bolter Discipline, Shock Assault, and Master the Warp. And then Spiritual Leaders, they can use his leadership within 6, so he's a standard Space Marine Chaplain. With a Storm Bolter, comes with a Storm Bolter though, and Crisis Arcanum. New strats, okay, so again, a lot of these are the same as before, so Transhuman Physiology is the same as the Space Marine one. Master of Combat, use stratagem in the fight phase when a Grey Knight Paladin unit from your army that's not been chosen to fight yet is chosen for the target of, as the target of attack. Until the end of that phase, when a model is destroyed, they can Paladin fight. Avenge the Machine Spirit, same as the Space Marine one. Overwhelming Assault, use a stratagem in the fight phase, select a Nemesis Dread Knight unit from your army. Until the end of that phase, add 1 to the attack characteristic of that unit. And when resolving an attack made with a model in that unit, can reroll wound rolls of 1 and damage rolls of 1. Dynamic Insertion. Use a stratagem with a Grey Knights unit from your army is set up in the battlefield using the Teleport Strike ability. You can set that unit up anywhere in the battlefield that's more than 3 away from the enemy models instead of 9. If you do, you cannot charge that turn, however. Then why bother? I don't know, maybe it's useful. Within 3. Not within 3, sorry. I don't know. I don't know why you would. 2 CPs for Bring Down the Beast. Use a stratagem in your shooting phase. After shooting with the Grey Knights unit from your army, select 1 enemy vehicle or monster unit that was chosen as the target of that unit's attacks. Until the end of that phase, when resolving an attack made by a model with a friendly Grey Knights unit against the enemy, you can reroll the wound roll. So mark a unit out and reroll wounds. Big guns never tire, same as Space Marines. Fury of the Proven. This is basically Fury of the First. Select a Grey Knight Terminator unit from your army. Until the end of that phase, when resolving an attack made by a model in that unit, add 1 to the hit roll. So in any phase, just get +1 to hit. Powerful Adept. Use a stratagem in the Psychic phase. Select a Grey Knight Psychic unit from your army with the Rites of Banishment ability. Till the end of that phase, the range of their Psychic powers they manifest is increased by 6 inches. Duty Eternal. It's again the same as the regular Dreadnought one, half damage. Fight on the move. Use a stratagem at the end of your movement phase. Select one Granite Interceptor squad from your army. Until the end of that turn, the unit can shoot and charge even if they fell back. 1 CP for Empyric Surge. Use a stratagem in your Psychic phase. After a Granite Psychic unit from your army has manifested a Psychic power, till the end of that phase, when a Psychic test is taken for a friendly Granite Psychic unit within 6 of that unit, add 1 to the total. Redoubtable Defense. Use a stratagem in your opponent's shooting phase when a Granite Terminator unit from your army is chosen as the target of an attack. If the unit contains 5 models or fewer, the stratagem costs 1 CP, otherwise it's 2. Until the end of that phase, when resolving an attack made with a ranged weapon against that unit, subtract 1 from the damage characteristic of the weapon for that attack. That makes you harder to wound. Great for 2 Interminators. If a damage 2 weapon attacks you, 2 Interminators, you can drop it down to damage 1 and you're literally keeping guys alive. Failed saves become way less impactful. 1 CP for Steady Advance. Use a stratagem in your shooting phase. When a Granite's infantry unit with the Bolter Discipline is treated as stationary for the previous movement phase. So, same as Space Marine 1. Untainted and Unbound. Use a stratagem when the Grey Knight's Purifier squad from your army is chosen to be the target of an attack until the end of the turn. Models in that unit have a 4+ invul save. When a model morale test is taken, you're just automatically passing it for 1 CP. Preternatural Senses. Use this with a Grey Knight's Purgation squad. Unit from your army fires Overwatch. Until the end of the phase, it's a hit on a 4+. That's pretty cool. Just for Purifiers, though. And then the Dominus Discipline. So Warp Shaping. It casts on a 5, and you can change it to a different dominant warp tide. Armored Resilience. Manifests on a 6. Select a Granite Infantry unit within 12 of the Psyker. Until the end of starting your next Psychic phase, when resolving an attack against them, it's -1 to wound. Ethereal Manipulation, cast on a 7. Pick a Granite's unit within 6 of the Psyker until the start of the next Psychic phase. When resolving an attack made by a model in that unit in the shooting phase against a unit that is within half range, reroll a hit roll. So you can reroll a hit against models that are close up. The Edict Imperator has a warp charge of 7. If manifested, select one friendly Grey Knight's unit within 12. That unit can shoot as if it was a shooting phase, and then make a move as if it was your movement phase. It cannot advance, however. The unit cannot shoot again this turn or charge this turn. So you basically manipulate them in the psych phase, but they can't shoot or charge later on. The Empyrion Domination has a warp charge of 7. If manifested, get a command point. That's pretty cool. Inner Fire has a warp charge of 5. If manifested, select one enemy unit within 1 inch of the psyker and roll a d6 equal to the result of the psych test. A number of d6 equal to the psych test, sorry. For each 1, the psyker suffers a mortal wound. For each 3+, the enemy suffers a mortal wound. So if you get a huge psych test number, yeah, 1s you're hurting yourself, but 3+, you're just exploding out mortal wounds, which is pretty huge. And these are available to Grey Knight characters, not squads. And the Relics of Titan. So some new cool relics, like the Blade of the Forsworn. Replace the Nemesis Force Sword. +1 strength, -3 AP, 3 damage. When resolving an attack against a demon, and a vulnerable saving throw cannot be made, so it gets rid of their invul. Sanctic Shard. When a psychic test is taken for a model with this relic, you can reroll the result. Add 1 in the total for psychic tests taken for a model with this relic. Argurium Scrolls. When resolving an attack made with a Nemesis weapon by a model in a friendly Grey Knight's unit within 6 of this relic, an unmodified hit roll of 6 scores an additional hit. The Stave of Supremacy. Models with the Nemesis wording stave only. When a psychic test is taken for an enemy model with an 18 in the model with this relic, that enemy model suffers perils of the warp on any double. The Artisan Nullifier Matrix. Librarian only. Once per turn, when a psychic test is taken for a friendly Grey Knight unit within 6 of the model with this relic, you can increase or decrease the value shown on the dice by 1 on one of the dice. And the Etheric Conduit, Tech Marine only. When using this model's Blessing of the Omnissiah ability, restore 2 D3 wounds instead of D3. Cool. There's a whole scene actually in, what was it? Brotherhood, no, For the Emperor? The Aaron Dembski bad one about Grey Knights. I think it was For the Emperor. Where like one of the guys meditates by taking apart a rhino with his mind and then putting it back together, and he's literally, maybe it was an engine or something like that, and his friend walks in and the Space Marine's just sitting on the floor in like the cargo bay, and he's just holding all the parts like apart in his mind, taking it apart and then like putting it back together. It's like how he meditates. So that's a cool like relic that, you know, they're doing that. The Litanies of Purity. So these are all our litanies for the Grey Knight's Chaplain. You can either roll 1d6 to generate each litany randomly, or select one. And actually, sorry, I might have gotten that wrong then. I think when I was looking at the Chaplain in here, it doesn't reference the Dark Angels one. Yeah, it's page 70. It's just these ones. Litanies of Purity, 72. Yeah, it's just Litanies of Purity. He knows these ones. He doesn't know the Dark Angel ones. It's just the Space Marines being reprinted threw me off. He knows the Litany of Death. If this is inspiring, then when a model in a friendly Grey Knights unit within 6, this model would lose a wound. Roll d6 on a 5+, it's not lost. So he gets a 5+ wound shrug within 6. Words of Power. This Litany is inspiring. Select one friendly Grey Knights unit within 6 of this model. When resolving an attack made with a weapon in that unit that has a random damage characteristic, you can reroll the dice. Atonement for Guidance. This Litany is inspiring. Select a friendly Grey Knight unit within 6 of this model. They can ignore hit modifiers for ballistic skill. Refrain of Convergence. If this Litany is inspiring, and then when a Deny the Witch test is taken for this model, they get to add 3. The Recitation of Projection. If this Litany is inspiring, select a Grey Knight unit within 6 of this model, add 6 inches to the range characteristic of bolt weapons and psi weapons that the unit's equipped with. And the Invocation of Focus. If this Litany is inspiring, select a friendly Grey Knight unit within 6. When resolving an attack made with a Nemesis weapon or psi weapon, improve the arm pendant by 1. And then names. Pelastus Esdrios, Belarios Izad. There's no nuns on here though, which is funny. Cortain Kai, Elrin Ignatius. And then new point values. Again, I am not gonna know enough for to give any opinions. So pause and look. If you're just listening to this, now look up and actually look at the screen if you're interested in point values, because I'm not gonna know any differences. My brain is too old to hold all that information. The Sons of Magnus. All right, here we go. So we're into some Thousand Sons. Thousand Sons get, oh geez, I think just as many pages actually. Yeah, just about as many pages as the Grey Knights did. So what does this add? It adds cults. You get to add cults to your army. So the different cults that you can join. You can personalize your detachment by joining either the Cult of Prophecy, Time, Mutation, Scheming, Magic, Knowledge Change, Duplicity, or Manipulation. New stratagems, a name generator, and new abilities. All Thousand Sons units, excluding cultists and Zangors, gain the Hateful Assault and Malicious Volleys. Hateful Assault is +1 attack when you charge, so basically Shock Assault. Malicious Volleys is the exact same as Vulture Discipline. For the purpose of this ability, the fire model is targets within half range. The fire model is a Terminator, Biker, or Halbert. You double the number of attacks if any of the following apply. That's right. Cults of the Legion. So your cults. If your army's battle forged, you can join a cult, and all Thousand Sons and attachment, excluding Chaos Cultists and Zangors, gain the cult faction keyword. So whatever this name is, you get that keyword. All Thousand Sons cult psychers know the relevant cult psych power, so the one that you get. Warlord traits. If a Thousand Sons cult character is your warlord, they have the relevant cult warlord trait. And then Sorcerous Arcana. If your army is led by a Thousand Sons cult warlord, you can get the relevant cult warlord trait. So basically, when you join a cult, you get a psychic power, warlord trait, and a Sorcerous Arcana that you can have. And there's a bunch of these. Note that some relics or weapons replace a weapon. In this case, you must, if you're using the point value, still pay the cost of the weapon being replaced. And these are all cans instead of musts. So the Cult of Prophecy, Divine the Future. It's Warp Charge 6, roll a d6 and set it aside. Until the start of your next psychic phase, you can use that die to replace any single die roll for hit wound roll, advanced roll, charge roll, psychic test, deny the witch, or morale test for a Cult of Prophecy unit in your army. So you cast it, you have that one die to replace it for any of those things. Your Warlord trait, Guided by the Whispers. Once per turn after this Warlord fires Overwatch, you can immediately move up to 6 inches like it was your movement phase. And then your Sorcerous Arcana. When a unit within 6 of a friendly model with this relic is chosen to shoot or fight, you can reroll 1 hit roll, 1 wound roll, or 1 damage roll. That's really funny, because like, you can't give it to, you give it to Demon Prince or something like that. You can't give it to Magnus. But if you fire Overwatch and then just like back away 6, be like, bye! That's a pretty cool way of keeping your warlord alive, if it's like a big guy and something scary is going to charge him. The Cult of Time, your psychic power is the Time Flux, Warp Charge 5. If manifested, select a Cult of Time infantry unit within 6. You can return 1 destroyed model from that unit to the battlefield with all of its wounds remaining. Place it in coherency. If the unmodified result was 9 or plus, you can instead return up to D3 models destroyed from that unit with all their wounds remaining, placing them in coherency. No wound limit! So, Yeah, it has to be infantry, but that could be Terminators, that could be a bunch of things. And if you roll 9+, it's D3 of them. So that's a pretty cool ability. Warlord trait, Immaterial Echo. In your Psych phase, if this Warlord manifests Psych power with a result of a 9+, this Warlord can attempt to manifest 1 additional Psych power. Only 1 Psych power can be manifested as a result of this Warlord trait per phase. And then your Arcana is the Hourglass of Manat. The first time a model of this relic is destroyed at the end of the phase, return that model to play with D3 wounds, place them as close as possible to the previous position and 1 inch away from the enemy models. More than 1 from enemy models. So you just get a dumb mulligan. I'm dead, I'm back! And then we have the Psychic Power, Warp Reality, so the Cult of Mutation. Warp Reality, cast on a 6. Select a train feature within 18 of the Psyker, and then select an enemy unit within 3 of the train feature. Till the start of the next Psychic phase, have that unit's move characteristic and subtract 1 from advance and charge rolls. So you slow folks down. Your Warlord trait, Touch of Vicissitude. There's like so many 25-cent words in this section. When resolving an attack made with the melee weapon by the Warlord and a modified hit roll of a 6 inflicts a mortal wound in addition to normal damage. And then Sorceress Arcana, Sorcerer model only, add 1 of the strength, toughness, and attack characteristic of the model with this relic. So big boost. I don't think Demon Princes are sorcerers, but that would have been cool. The Cult of Scheming, Seated Strategy. Has a warp charge of 6. If manifested, select a friendly Cult of Scheming unit within 24. They can shoot and charge even if they fell back. The Grand Schemer, while they're within 3 of the Warlord, friendly Cult of Scheming units gain the Disciples of Tzeentch ability. If such a unit already has it, each model of that unit counts as 2 models for determining who controls an objective marker. So it's your boots on the ground, you double up. Or if you don't have it, you gain it. So you give it to like a single model to break a tie. And then your Sorcerer Arcana, Chakithal's Theorem. Chakithal's Theorem. Once per battle in any phase, you can use blank if a model with this relic is in the battlefield. If you do so, select 1 stratagem until the end of the phase or after that stratagem is used by that model with this relic's controlling player. Reduce the command point cost to 0. So, once per battle, no CPs to pay for like a big stratagem. Cult of Magic, your Psychic Power is Astral Blast. Warp charge 6. If manifested, the closest enemy unit within 9 inches suffers D3 mortal wounds, and each enemy unit within 3 of that unit suffers 1 mortal wound. The Brother of Sorcerer's ability only increases the first range, so not bad. Warlord trait, Devastating Sorcery. When this Warlord trait manifests Psychic Power that inflicts 1 or more mortal wounds, increase the mortal wounds inflicted by that unit by 1. So, yeah, you know Astral Blast, you give it to this guy, and then you do D3 plus 1, and then 2 to everybody within 3. That's a pretty cool Hadouken. And then Sorcerer Arcana, Arcane Focus. When there's a Psychic test for a model that's taken, add 1 to the total, so plus 1 to cast. Cult of Magic, that's pretty cool. I mean, Astral Blast is pretty great, but I mean, you'd get D3 plus 1, and then just however many units are within 3. So that could be really, that could be really cool, actually. Cult of Knowledge. The Cult of Knowledge is drawn from many curios. Psychic Delve is the Psychic Power. Cast on a 6. If manifested, select an enemy unit within 18 of the Psyker. Until the start of your next Psychic phase, when resolving an attack made against the unit by a friendly Cult of Knowledge unit, reroll wound rolls of 1. Warlord trait is you're the Ardent Scholar. When a Psychic test is taken, you can reroll dice rolls of 1. And then Sorcerer's Arcana. Excuse me. In Chaldean's Cry. Model with a Warp Flame pistol only, and Chaldean's Cry replaces it with the following profile: 12-inch range, pistol D6, strength 6, -2, 1 damage, and it auto hits. The Cult of Change, Disturb Reality. A disturbing reality, like the one we live in. It's a warp charge of 6. If manifested, select 1 enemy unit within 12 of the Psyker. Till the start of your next Psychic phase, subtract 1 from the unit's leadership test, and leadership and attacks characteristics. And then your Warlord trait, your Fickle Nature. Reroll charge rolls for this Warlord. This Warlord can shoot and charge in the turn in which it fell back. And your Sorcerer Arcana is the Capricious Crest. Once per turn, when a Psychic test is taken for a model within 18 of a model with this relic, you can change the result of the test as follows. If that model is in from your army, you can change any roll of 1 to a 6. If it's from your opponent's army, change any roll of 6 to a 1. So once per turn, you can flip 6s to 1s, either good for you, bad for somebody else. That's a pretty cool relic. And they actually, because it's pretty cool because it's once per turn. But it's 12. If you go 6 turns, it's 12 times per game because you can do it to your opponent and you. Psych Power, Sorcerer's Facade. This is the Cult of Duplicity. Cast on a 7, select a Cult of Duplicity unit within 6 of the Psyker, remove it from the battlefield, set it up anywhere on the battlefield more than 9 from enemy, and it's treating as having already moved. Warlord trait, Duplicitous Tactician. At the start of your battle round, before the first turn, select D3 Cult of Duplicity units from your army, remove them from the battlefield, and this Warlord from the battlefield, and set them up again following the normal deployment. If you redeploy a transport, all the models inside are also redeployed. And then your Sorcerer's Arcana is the Perfidious Tome. At the start of the battle round, roll 1d6. If a model with this relic's on the battlefield on a roll of 1, your opponent gains a command point. On a 4+, you get a command point. That's funny. I like there's like a downside to some of these. Cult of Manipulation, your Attempted Possession, Psychic Power, has a warp charge of 6. If manifested, select one enemy character unit within 18. The unit suffers a mortal wound until the start of your psych phase. When a psych test is taken for that unit, subtract 2 from the total. So you just mess their head. You like stick a demon in there, little baby demon. And your Warlord trait, Beguiling Influence, subtract 1 to a minimum 1 from attack characteristics of models from enemy units while they're within 1 inch of this Warlord. Because you're just so pretty. You just like, you're weirdly handsome. And then Sorcerer's Arcana, Sorthus' Reflector. When a model of this relic is chosen to fight in the fight phase, you can select one enemy infantry model with a leadership characteristic of 9 or less that's within 1 inch of the model. Select one melee weapon for the enemy. Until the end of that phase, the model of the relic is treated as only being equipped with that weapon, and it can only make attacks against that enemy model's unit. Resolving each of those attacks, you cannot reroll the hit, and you cannot reroll the wound roll. So basically, you basically steal somebody's weapon. And you get to use it back at them, but you can't reroll anything. And then you get some stratagems. The Magister stratagem for 1 CP. Use a stratagem before the battle. After nominating your Warlord, select a Thousand Suns character from your army to get an additional Warlord trait. The Infernal Fusillade for Rubric Marines or Scarab Occult Terminators in the shooting phase. Until the end of the phase, models in that unit can shoot twice with the rapid fire weapons if they didn't move. So double tapping with rapid fire weapons. It's pretty bananas. That's 1 CP. And then 2 CPs for Yoked Automata. Use a stratagem at the end of your opponent's charge phase. Select one enemy unit that finished a charge within 1 inch of any Thousand Suns character other than Zangor's. From your army that phase, 1 Rubric Marines or Scarab Occult Terminator unit that's within 12 of that enemy unit and not within 1 inch of any enemy unit can perform a heroic intervention. And move 2d6 instead of 3. So basically, your character gets charged, and he yokes in the robots, the Yallow's Dust folks, to come save him. The unit from your army must end that move within 1 inch of the enemy unit and does not, and not within 1 inch of any other enemy units. Otherwise, it does not move. So you can only move within range of the unit that charged you. You can't just throw them at the enemy somewhere else. 1 CP for Risen Rubricae. Use a stratagem when you set up a Rubric Marines unit from your army during deployment. That unit can be set up anywhere in the battlefield, more than 9 from enemy deployment zone, and enemy models. You only use a stratagem once per battle. So you just basically grow guys out of the ground. 1 CP for Sorceress Infusion. Use a stratagem after resolving a psychic power manifested by a Thousand Suns model from your army. If the result of the psychic test was 9 or higher. If that model's unit contains any models that have lost wounds, they get D3 back. Otherwise, if any models are destroyed, return 1 with all of its wounds remaining in coherency. And then 1 CP for Indomitable Foes. Use a stratagem when a Rubric Marine unit or Scarab Occult Terminators unit from your army is chosen as the target of attack. Until the end, improve their invul save by 1 to 3+ maximum. And then Adepts of the Empyrion, 1 CP. Use a stratagem of a psychic power, or sorry, 1,000 Suns Psychic from your army would suffer Perils of the Warp. You don't suffer Perils of the Warp. And then you get your sweet name generator. Thotek Petra, Ulak Avrida, Mahotep Peshat. And your point values, again, changing up. I'm going to just do one of these for everybody. I hope this is in focus. Or at least, if you don't think it's in focus, because it should be, this is all in 1080p, go adjust your settings on your playback. Or don't look at it on mobile, because mobile, you're not going to get it in high res. You won't be able to see the numbers. Look it on your desktop. And there he is, this big M, being a bird. And that's it, we're done. Yeah, man, these books. So at the end of all of this, it's 87 pages, and 67 of them basically are rules. That's a lot of, that's a lot of rules updating for like 3 armies. And these books are still continuing to come out. So going into the end of 8th edition, it looks like we're gonna have almost like double codexes for everybody as they work through these, because these campaign books are obviously shoring up and basically adding in all the things that have come out in the meantime for all the different armies. So let's see. I guess we'll see what happens. I know they've announced the next couple, and I'm excited for the Space Wolf one because obviously I'm going to play some games then because I got my Space Wolves coming out, and I'm actually going to maybe start a Grey Knight army. So this one you might see some games coming up pretty soon for as well, just because I should start a new 40k army. I'm starting a new fantasy army, which is my Slaves of Darkness. So maybe I'll pair that with some Grey Knights, and just play the on hard mode 40k. So anyway, I hope you enjoyed that. We'll see you for more GMG reviews in the future. Big thanks for watching. Thanks to Mash. Happy Wargaming. I hope you enjoyed that video. If you want to support the channel, of course, like and subscribe and hit the little bell below so you get notifications when I post future content. I do post stuff 7 days a week. If you want to support the channel further, you can, of course, buy a t-shirt through Spreadshirts, buy a measuring gauge or objective markers from Death Ray Designs, or, of course, most importantly, there is Patreon. Patreon is what makes all this possible, keeps the lights on, pays for the studio costs, pays for the equipment, model costs, and everything else, and most importantly, puts food in my kids' bellies and a roof over their heads. Big thanks to everyone, past, future, who supported me. I do this stuff because of you guys, and of course, I will continue doing it as long as I can.